You start across the street at we'll call it a brisk walk.
I'm probably in somebody else's shadow, blocking, view from Fleur and her companion, so that
Using
if they glance my direction, they might not see me. They'll see the person I'm shadowing.
Okay, so you're using foot traffic to conceal your direct line of sight,
Yes.
line of effect. You do find that there are a number of people crossing about the same time you are, moving at a brisk enough pace that somebody's intent on getting somewhere, and it lines up with your desire to get closer. You cross the street with that person in front of you, get to the curb. You're at the edge of the little cafe street area. Little braided rope separates you from that 5 tables, and we'll call it 7 people on the inside.
Is she on the inside of the rope or the outside of the rope?
She's up against she's on the other side of the rope from the driver. She hasn't crossed the rope yet.
Gotcha.
From here, you close enough to hear a conversation between a man and a woman. They're almost right beneath you. You're in that pocket where you're almost inside their bubble. You can see one of them wince as you get close enough where they're like starting to guard their conversation. You've got another 2 actions.
Oh, okay. Is she still in motion of casting?
Yep.
Oh, she's casting?
Yes.
Missed that when I went for coffee.
Yeah, that's why Cornell is getting in as close as possible without spoiling Bjorn's position, even though it might already be spoiled.
See, from your perspective, Bjorn, you see that she's holding her clutch in one hand and there's another hand behind it that you can't see. She's casting behind a blind.
Oh, I have such a warm spot for spellcasters.
Cornell, what do you do with your
How close am I to her?
20 feet, maybe 18.
I don't want her to mess up Bjorn. I'm gonna sneak up right up next to her, I think. No, wait, hold on. I am going to
do what you got to do, team leader. I'm making this shit up as I go along.
Well, I realized I don't have a weapon in my hand, and that's going to take an extra action. So if I move up to her, I can draw a weapon. But that's not good enough. I'm going to draw my Ragnar, but then keep it concealed in my jacket for my next 2 actions.
Okay. You pull it and conceal it. You're still on the outside of the ropes?
Yes.
Okay. Danny, you've been ushered out of the store with a brisk tone and icy stares. Oh, shit.
Yep. Yeah, I've ducked my head. I am glancing off to the side. I watched Cornell from the back as he started moving. I know approximately where Bjorn is, or it was. He's disappeared from my view now. I am tucking down I've moved up and I tucked down to the right into the next.
You're going up to the street corner?
Yeah, going up to the street corner.
Okay, I'm going to say one of your actions was leaving the building. The second one puts you on the corner. You can see Cornell. You see his body language says that he's intent on hunting. You don't see him pull a gun and prepare it. You've got another
Is
action. It's 20 feet to cross the street, maybe 25.
is everything? Can I see them focused on that woman? Is that? You know what?
Um,
Let me. She's standing out, and she's obvious at this
yes.
point. Correct?
hmm
Do I recognize her? I need a new die. That's an 18.
What are you looking for?
I'm just looking at who the prize is and trying to determine
You see
what's going
Bjorn
on.
is kind of hunkered down by the side of the car. He's lowered his frame to the point where he's looking through the car towards the encounter. Uh, Cornell is postured at the end. You see one of the patrons sitting just inside the cafe look up his direction, kind of annoyed, and then back to the party sitting in front of them as they sip at their wine or coffee.
Everybody being oblivious. I am. Do I see? Did I see him draw and or Cornell draw? And well, probably from the back.
Perception. What was your perception roll?
It was low,
You
18.
didn't see it. No.
Okay.
You know he's an operator and he is in hunt mode. You can
Yeah.
tell by his posture.
I am going to look towards the woman that is engaged or that everybody's focused on. I'm
Uh-huh.
going to observe her, mark her.
Okay. You mark her. That ends your turn.
Yep.
That takes an action, right? Okay.
Yes, it does.
Bjorn. Perception.
$26, $28 if it's initiative.
26. You're looking through the clear glass of the vehicle. Both panes on either side. It reflects a fair amount of light, but you've got a nice bead on there. The young man standing on the other side of the car is partially obscuring the woman you're watching. She's got kind of an arrogance about her that galls you as she mistreats this subordinate. You can hear a little bit of conversation going back and forth between them as she starts to make her way closer. You see her hand behind her purse shaping characters.
Well, I've seen Blanka do that often enough.
Yep.
Here we go. I'm going to come around the car as swiftly as possible to close on her.
Front or back?
Can I get at her from behind?
So, and this is kind of my, let's see, let me turn off this filter so that we can see stuff. Visual effects, none. Let's see if that will come into focus.
Okay, yeah.
Pull it back just a little bit. Oh, that didn't help. Go forward. Okay.
She's the F, you're the B on the other side of the car, directly above her.
Yep.
I'm the C over on the left side, and Bonnie's on the other over on the other corner.
Okay. So I'm going to come around the end of the car, which looks like the back of the car,
Correct.
and I'll be coming at her from the flank because I don't see how I can get around behind her.
Right.
And if it's possible, I would do it, but I realistically don't see that. I'm going to athletically vault over the little rope, and I'll still have 2 actions left. Have not gone into a rage yet. I'm going to make an attack at her neck with the open bracelet, the open necklace.
All right. So you move around the car, vault the rope. Roll your attack.
I'm going to roll it and then I'll do the math. 13. All right, so unarmed. I'm an expert, so that's +2, +4. So do we add our level? I always screw this up.
Yes.
What are you doing? You're
All
rolling.
right,
if you want to
it's
attack?
an unarmed attack. I'm an expert, so there's +4. Plus my strength of 4 is +8. And then is it plus my level?
Yep.
So that's 16.
I'm going to rule that in order to employ the device I think you're using, she's
Yep.
going to have the grabbed condition first.
Okay, so I will use that as my grab. So that would be,
That's instead an athletics check. You're grappling.
oh, that's an athletics.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's +16, so 29.
29. Athletics goes against.
Her athletics DC, I believe.
Yes, you move around the car, really just knocking over the ropes that define the borders of the cafe. You hear those things clank over as you storm through into the cafe. One of the folding chairs there kicks over backwards. You see her react and try to shrink from you. You hand her shoulder, grab her so that she can't move. Her eyes get as large as saucers. You bring up the device.
Yep, that'll be my third action to try to clap it on her neck.
All right. You'll take
Yeah.
a light penalty for your second attack.
So is this still athletics or is this an unarmed
Uh,
attack?
it would be an unarmed attack.
Okay.
So
It's going to be the same either way. My athletics and my unarmed attack is the same. So this is at a -2, so I'm at a +14 instead of a +16.
It should be higher than a -2 because a grapple is considered an attack.
So it would be -5. -5.
because it's your
Oh,
second.
yeah. Sorry. Are there any pluses because she's grappled?
She can't move away. That's pretty much all that grabbed does is she can't escape you. You have her held. She can't use a move action without breaking.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, will this disrupt her casting?
Oh, absolutely.
If you get it in place, it will.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if I get the collar on, I just was wondering if manhandling her will shake her spell loose. Let's
No.
see.
She might have to make a concentration check if she takes damage, but otherwise, no.
So -5. 14 is 30, -5 is 25.
5. You bring the collar up. The opening jaws move towards her neck. You can see it going around her. She ducks her head so it catches in her hair. You see it knock her hat off onto the cafe table. You're pushing it around as the two of you wrestle in close proximity. You can't close the clasp.
Okay,
That's your turn.
that's my turn.
Off to your right, you hear the scuffle and kind of a guffaw from the young man off to your right. Cornell, you see him lightning fast pull up he draws from his offside hip a cutlass. He will have to move, so draw, move, slice. The soft boundary that is the cafe is no more.
Knocking everything around.
It was more of a guideline.
Well, we did have the whole bull in a china shop.
You were the one that got thrown out of the china shop.
The young man steps close enough to you, Bjorn, that your hackles and defenses kind of come up. You see the flash of steel coming your direction, and he is a good shot. That is a total of a 30.
You got me.
You feel that cold steel create a hot flash across your body. Six points of damage. That's all he does this round.
Very well.
Fleur in front of you, you see her eyes get wild like a crazy person. She looks your direction, and all the scary shit you remember from the war starts to run like train cars through your head. Demons, spider creatures, things that look like crabs but don't move like crabs. They're all over the board. You see her get hot, and she looks your direction. She closes her hands, and you feel magic manipulate in your proximity. Oh, no. Double check the distance on this.
Does being grabbed impact casting at all?
No.
Okay.
Roll a 8-sider, John.
Alrighty. An 8.
You roll the die. In front of you, you're wrestling with her as she kind of tries to avoid this thing clasping around her. You see her, and you feel the device kind of give way as she vanishes from in front of you. Perception?
18.
18. Your peripheral vision, you see her reappear inside the shop on the other side of the glass near the croissant counter.
Very well. I still have the collar, correct?
You still have the collar, yes.
Okay. Did she just blip out of my grasp?
Yeah.
Okay.
She appears on the other side. You see her turn and run away from you towards the back of the coffee shop. She's pushing over tables, which is impeding her progress to a degree. She probably could have moved further, but she gets about 20 feet deeper into the shop. Cornell.
I saw what Bjorn was doing with that with the.
You know exactly what that device is.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let him do what he wants to do with that with Fleur. I'm gonna try and take care of the guy that just slashed at him with a a cutlass? Pirate Town cutlass. Got it. I should probably still be hidden from him, so I bet I have a very clean shot that he's not even aware. Yeah. So I'm gonna post up and fire.
You hear a wine glass or no, a coffee cup clatter to the floor as the two people right in front of you try to take cover.
I'm gonna brace and then fire. This Ragnar is silenced.
Okay.
Rolled a 13, so that gives me a 30, 32, plus he's flat-footed.
You hit.
Is that enough for a crit?
32?
He's flat-footed, so
Yes, it is. It's a crit.
Cool.
Oh, this guy is just going to be a red mist after that.
11, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Sneak attack damage, because he is flat-footed, is going to be... 25 damage plus sneak attack, and my sneak attack is 2d6. So 8, 6, so another 14.
39?
39, plus critical specialization for that. What is that, a 1d4 bleed, right?
Yep.
2 bleed.
Well, I know you're never going to see it, so.
Is he still standing?
Yes. You see the car just spray with blood behind him. He rocks in his stance with his sword out. You see him swoon heavily. His head rocks around, trying to see where the damage came from. He's still oblivious.
He's also frightened 1.
What does that do to his...
I am looking. 1 second. Status penalty equal to this value to all checks and DCs. It decreases at the end of each of your turns.
Okay.
For my third action, I'm just going to shoot on one more time and see if I can hit him again.
Okay.
Let's see. Second shot, 19 to hit. Plus, he is still flat-footed because he's frightened.
Okay.
Does that hit?
19 total?
19 total.
So it's basically your last roll plus 1. Oh. 19 total? Oh.
19 total, but he is flat-footed.
You send a bullet into the car. You see one of the rear glass explode.
That's my turn.
Vanny.
I see. So when I saw...
Oh, wait. Sorry. I was braced. 21 plus flat-footed.
Missed by 1.
Looking, I saw... Well, I just see this mist, and I see this reeling boy over there. Boy.
You see a civilian young man with cutlass. He just finished an arc of his strike. You see him rock from a bullet hit, and his hand is clutching at his chest as he's trying to find how extensive the damage is as he staggers around.
I am going to allow Cornell to finish what he started there. Looking at the cafe, I saw her disappear.
Yep.
Do I pick up where she disappeared to?
So there's actually no possibility you could see it. On the side wall of the little cafe, it's just stone. There's no windows on the south side, and she's out of your line of sight. You see her vanish. You see Bjorn looking around. Perception on Bjorn? What was your perception roll?
Not yet. It's a 28.
You watch his gaze go into the cafe, and you can tell whatever he's after is in the cafe.
Okay, that's all I need. I am going to move around the back of the cafe and see if I can find a rear entrance.
You cross the street at that diagonal?
Yeah, I am going full bore run towards the back and see if there's doors or multiple doors or maybe another window shop or anything.
At the end of your, what's your move rate?
30? Is it 30? I don't know where
At the end of your move rate at the diagonal, you arrive in front of a steel door on the side of a stone facade. There's just a standard handle, no latch.
the steel door. Test it.
You pull on it. It scrapes and creaks like an old steel door. You look into it looks like about a 7-foot wide opening, opens to the sky. There's a door on your left and a door at the end of the alley about 20 feet, 25 feet distance. Well, there's a tiny little window set at about head height next to the door. Your mental math tells you this is the back of the cafe.
The one that I'm next to or the one that's further down?
Off to your left, the door should enter into the shop. The one at the back probably goes to residential.
Okay. I am going to... Actually, I'm going to brace against that door.
Okay. You take position there with the door open. You've got one action left.
Oh,
You actually used an action to open the door and brace.
well, so I opened up that door, walked in, and know that this door that I'm standing next to is the door that she would be coming out of.
Uh-huh.
Does it open in or does it open out?
Out towards the street.
I'm going to lean against it, so it can't be opened.
Oh, from the outside?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you opened it and then closed it?
So I'm visualizing there's a metal door that protects an alley, and the alley has two doors.
There's one on each end of the alley, and there's another one 3/4 of the way down that goes into the cafe.
Okay. I want to go to the one that because I want to get in there, I want to go to where the door is near the cafe, and I want to...
You move to the door at the back of the cafe and brace it?
Yeah, brace against it.
Okay. That ends your turn.
Keith, sorry, that bleed is a bleed 3, not a bleed 2.
Okay, bleed
Ouch.
3. When I get to his turn, please remind me.
Okay.
When she blinked away, that wouldn't trigger an attack of opportunity, correct? That's more of a somebody turns their back to you.
Actually, spell casting in front of you would provoke. You have attack of opportunity?
I do.
Take a strike.
And I would have been striking with the necklace if I can. If not, then I'll just give her hairy knuckles right in the nose.
I would say just cuff her because that's going to require a different action.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just punch her in the face. Not with a 2, I don't think. Nope. I had my attack of opportunity.
Maybe you swing it in her direction. Maybe you cuff her, but she's gone before the blow strikes.
All right. And now it's my action?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to let the rage take over.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to be a bear.
She's only about 20 feet distant from you. You can't move as the crow flies. By the time if you want to close with her, it's about 30 feet.
Okay. So when I'm raging, my move is a 35.
Okay. You close?
I will close with her with my first action.
Okay.
And then take another attempt with the collar.
Okay.
For my second action. $16, $27.
You'll need to re-grab her. So that's your grab.
Oh, okay.
You get a hold of her again. You see her try to jerk away. She's within your grasp. Lock the collar. -5.
Sucks. 13. 29 minus 5 is 24.
Or that just like last time, just doesn't quite lock.
God. Damn it.
You can't seem to get it to lock around her neck, though. You've got her head in a halo.
Boys, Bjorn's about to go back to plan A.
Is that your actions?
Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
Rupert takes bleed at the end of his round, right?
Correct.
Okay. He's in shit shape.
Oh, I forgot about that little shit. Are you putting a hurt on him, Cornell?
Yeah, I did 30 something damage, 40 something damage. I don't know. It wasn't enough to down him. If I would have hit with that second bullet, it would have probably been enough.
It would have been
I'm sure
enough.
he's feeling it.
You see him take what looks like the tie around his civilian wear, pull it down, and shove it into a hole in his chest. And the pulsing squirt that was coming out of that hole stops.
Okay.
What is that, field medicine or battle medicine?
Yes, he managed to pull that off. That
Now,
does
does that, when you do that to yourself, does that occupy all your actions?
It's battle medicine. I don't have.
I think it's one action.
I'm not thumping rules. I'm just curious.
Battle medicine is one action. It's just really rudimentary, really fast, sprucing somebody up before more bad.
Is this the one that somebody has to maintain it?
No, this is a one action medicine skill.
What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of apply pressure.
Yeah, pressure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one action, Keith.
Okay. Got his cutlass out. He's pretty exposed here. You're 20-foot distant.
Is he still looking at Bjorn?
He actually is, from that shot he took, eventually he came around to seeing you across the way. He looks at you briefly and then goes into the cafe. Bjorn, you hear leather shoes padding up behind you. And then you hear the whisper of air as a blade comes your direction.
All right, so I have deny advantage, so he can't catch me flat-footed.
He's also at a -1.
From
being
the
frightened. Yep.
Okay.
What frightened him?
I did.
Good job.
Cornell really put the hurt on him. I mean, like, that was really bad.
Nice.
-1 is what he's at, you said?
Yes.
He strikes at you, total of 30. Normal hit. Bjorn?
That will hit me, yes.
$13 points of damage.
A little better roll on that one.
Run, my lady, run! I'll cover you. He shouts in Gallic.
He's going to cover her in his own blood if Cornell gets another shot at him.
That ends his round with a movement. the stopping of the bleeding and the strike. She is still right in front of you, squirming out of your grasp.
Is she trying to break free?
She's wrestling against you. You see her kind of moving as you try to clamp this on her. She doesn't blink away this time. Let's see. That's good. A step takes you 5 feet, correct?
That's correct. She can't step though because she's grabbed.
Oh, that fucking grab. She starts to try to pull away, realizes she's still held by you. You see her bring up her hand and gouge at the air in front of you. Attack of opportunity.
She has an attack of opportunity?
You do. She's casting.
I do. She's casting. Okay. Now she's grabbed, but I can't use the
No,
The-
I mean you're batting, you're swatting at her, preventing her, trying to stop her from casting.
Okay, then with my chainmail hood, I'm just gonna fucking headbutt her right in the face.
Okay, roll the hit.
Natch.
Sweet. Oh,
I don't know what kind
Blitz.
of damage it's gonna do.
Well, the more important thing is that means she loses her spell.
yeah.
Really?
It
What is-
immediately disrupts her.
If you were to, what's damage of a fist? I'm assuming a head
1d4.
would be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, any body part does the same damage. So D4 plus your strength.
Plus what weapon specialization if you have it and can apply it.
Um,
Some
gonna-
classes can only apply it to specific weapons.
so you don't add the damage for your proficiency, correct? So if I'm an expert and I'm +4, I don't add that to damage.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a 3 plus strength is 7.
Plus it's a crit. So roll that again and add it
Roll
again.
And a 2 plus 4 is 6. So it looks like 13 total from the headbutt.
You rock your head into her. You feel your forehead hit the bridge of her nose, and you see it erupt in a red spray. You hear a crack of cartilage. You see that her deviated nose is bent off at an ugly angle. Her eyes are swimming in confusion.
Yeah, I just took an Odin shower.
You also get critical specialization since you're raging still, right?
I am raging. So that would have been +2 more damage.
I didn't look at weapon specialization. I was looking at critical
No, my
specialization.
rage gives me +2 damage per strike.
Okay.
So would that be doubled for the crit?
Just to add it, just 2 more on top.
Okay.
She must make a fortitude save against class DC or be slowed 1.
Let's give her a check. You said fortitude?
Fortitude versus class DC. Yeah.
I rolled a 25 total.
What's your
I
class
think
DC, Bjorn?
I bet it's a 26.
So 8, 9, 10.
Because it's
What's-
based on your strength is your class DC, or is it Constitution?
It's my strength.
So
It's
he's either 26 or 24, depending
It's
on if
24.
It's 24.
I'm only trained, not
he's
expert.
So she is not slowed 1.
Okay. Um,
Proficiency is level. Trained. Okay, never mind.
so the critical attack attempts to disrupt the spell. Does she get a concentrate? How does that work?
It's under attack of opportunity. Let me look it up real quick. If the attack was a critical hit and the trigger was a manipulate action, which the spellcasting was, you disrupt that action. She
So
loses the spell.
I'll mark it off.
She loses the spell and the actions that she would have used for it.
She still has one action, I guess.
Probably.
One action left. She's grabbed. Yeah, that'll work. You can see the clockwork of her brain calculating your proximity and her inability to get away. Her focus narrows. You see her eyes glare at you, and you feel a wave of energy hit you from out of nowhere. You take 17 points of force damage.
Damn.
You see a little curl of smile on her, blood in her teeth. She's got a smile of a crazy person.
Well, here's what's crazy. She's already grabbed, so I'm not going to be at a -5.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Josh.
She's going to be lucky I don't give her a Yeti enema.
Cornell, your turn.
How far is the door so I can get sight on this whole situation?
There is a window before the door. It's if you move into the cafe within 5 feet, you'll have line of sight. Within 15 feet, you'll have line of effect.
I'll move the 15 feet. That's not a problem.
Okay. You move to the front. You can see that the patrons of the restaurant are already starting to react to the violence that's going on around them. Most of them are pushing back against the walls, grabbing what they consider valuables and getting out of the way. Inside
Like
the
their
restaurant, what's that?
Like their wine.
Yeah.
Don't spin my wine.
You move to the open breezeway. There are, we'll call them Clovian doors. They're both open and out. So you've got a clear line of sight to the back of the young man. Just beyond that is Bjorn, and beyond Bjorn is Fleur.
Okay.
You see that there's droplets of blood on the floor where you're standing, but they dry up before they get to where the young man is standing.
I'm in the doorway.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and post up on the doorway with one action and then shoot the cutlass wielding crazy person in the back.
Okay. He is not flat-footed, but he is vulnerable to your shots.
Yeah.
Bullets. You get everybody.
36 to hit.
Jeez.
That's a crit.
Rolled a 19. Okay. So 2d6. 14. 21. 25 damage.
He drops like you've just cut the strings from a puppet.
In that case, I'm going to do an intimidate as a reaction on Fleur.
Roll.
Rolled a 12, so that is going to be a 29.
She defends against that with
I had it pulled up, and then I
It's
closed
a
it. One
will
sec.
DC.
will. What is the effect of intimidate?
Frightened 1. If she has a critical fail, she's frightened 2.
Well,
It's
she
a
doesn't
barbarian.
fail. Either succeed or doesn't, because I'm against her will DC.
You see her jaw drop slack as she looks past Bjorn over to you, and you see her try to hide behind Bjorn. Her body is quaking. You're pretty sure you frightened her.
Then for my third action, I'm going to shoot her non-lethally. Just try to take out a kneecap so she can't run away from Bjorn.
Do you move forward?
I moved forward. I shot once. The intimidate was a reaction from killing the guy.
Oh,
So I have one action left.
I love how I'm shaking her like an angry pit bull, and she's scared of the guy scowling at her in the back.
Yeah.
This I expect to miss, but we'll see. Roll the 7, so that is a 20. She is flat-footed against me, though, because she's frightened.
So that would be a -2.
Yeah.
You put a bullet into the back wall of the cafe. You see it punch out.
Man, I cannot. Oh, I'm too higher because I'm braced.
22, 24.
24.
Is she -1 from frightened?
No, that just affects her DCs and checks, not her AC.
You missed by 1.
Dang it, again!
Danny.
I was expecting somebody to ram the back door. I don't hear anybody, so I wrench the door open. Want to do a quick perception before I charge in. Another 10, 26.
You see that there is a waiter to your immediate right with his back pressed against the wall. He's clutching a handful of menus. When you open the door, his head darts your direction. He uses these stupid things as a shield. You look past him. You see a woman standing just before Bjorn. She almost vanishes in his bulk. You see yanking her around, her feet sweeping across the floor in response to that. Just behind that, you see a body on the floor, quickly dispersing blood across the tile. And in the distance, you see Cornell, who's just recovering from his second shot.
Oh, I probably heard that second shot.
You saw it go through the wall right next to you.
It would have sucked to open the fire door and Banny's there with a new butthole in the middle of his forehead.
What are you doing? I am going to. I saw that he's got the collar, and I assumed that Bjorn knows what he's doing. I didn't actually confirm this woman yet. I have no idea who she is, but I'm going to run up behind her, and I'm going to grab her from behind. Join into the grapple.
So you spend an action throwing the door open, you move in, and then your last action is to grapple. Roll your hit.
Yeah. Yay! Above a 10. That is... So I'm just doing a hit on that one, right? That's a 31.
You grab her from behind, one hand or two?
Both. I'm going to press her arms to her side so she can't do anything if possible.
Try to clamp her down from behind. You'll, of course, need a pin action in order to really do that, but she's double pinned at this point. Or
double grabbed. Double grabbed.
Double grabbed. End of the round. Bjorn.
Uber graben. So if she's Uber graben, does that give me any benefits to clamp this thing on her neck?
She's flanked. You're +2.
She's what? I'm sorry.
Flanked.
She's flanked, which
You're +2.
I know how to play this game.
She's surrounded. She can't focus all of her defenses on you. She has to worry about Bonnie. So she's at essentially a -2.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're at a +2.
All right. Clapping this thing on her neck.
Her DC. Well, are you attacking her AC or DC? It's with this. ACs. There you go.
AC.
So I rolled a 13 with my athletics. That's a 29. And then she's -2 because of her flanking.
Yes. You, with her grabbed condition confirmed, lock the neck shackle around her.
Yes. All right. For my second action, I'm going to do my Barbarian Renewed Vigor, which means that I spend one action pausing to regain 8 of my temporary hit points.
Okay.
And with my last action, I'm going to furry knuckle her right in that broken nose again.
Roll to hit -5.
A 2. Nope.
She actually leans into it, which surprises you, and you swing past the back of her head. She was inviting the hit.
Bro.
Damn, she is crazy.
This girl is out of her mind. And she gives you this bloody tooth smile. It's running down the front of her jaw, and she just looks happy to be here.
Well, in Gallic, I'll just shout so the whole restaurant can hear us. Police! This is a police operation. Move along.
You see, before you even finish that utterance, there are people already clamoring out that entrance. Cornell, you've got this wave of humanity that's running past you, ducking underneath your firing pose. There are still some people frozen against the walls that refuse to move from their positions, but the braver souls in this restaurant have already left. Rupert's dead. Fleur. So she is grabbed, and she has this magical device which prevents her from casting. That really limits my options.
I want to look and see if she's got one of these pesky goddamn brooches or buttons anywhere on her.
Oh, you're talking about
A
the
vest.
phantom vest.
Phantom vest.
That's beneath her, please. Oh,
She already has a warp away.
Because I was really hoping if I'm holding the collar and she did that, she'd take Bjorn to the middle welcome. Surprise!
We're right there with you.
She's looking straight at you, Bjorn. You're staring into those crazy eyes. You can tell that she's moving within your grasp. Banny's trying to hold her from behind. You don't notice the hand as it moves kind of in a free action towards your groin. She punches you in the nads with a natch.
Oh, God.
Well, that's going to get through the armor.
No chainmail there, huh?
No, just on my head. The big head.
4, 6, 7. You take 8 points of damage, and you hear church bells.
Is that not the non-lethal type?
Non-lethal damage.
Oh.
She looks at you, gauging your reaction.
I call her a cunt in goodness.
She headbutts you back with a second strike.
Please.
Not as good as the last one. Does a 27 hit. No, sorry, -5. 22.
She's either going to catch her forehead on my breastplate, my gorget, or the chainmail.
She bounces back from that. You see a fresh cut across her forehead. She just smiles wildly.
And you've also got the blade that's wringing her neck at this point too.
She tries once more to strike out at you. This is a desperate attempt, desperate woman. And you see her gasp as the collar starts to bite into her as she's making these actions. That's her turn.
Nice.
Cornell, people rushing past you. Having a hard time holding an audience tonight.
Oh no, I'm here. Sorry. Yeah. I have lost something though. I don't know where everything went. I can talk. I don't need to see you guys. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move up to it's Bunny and Bjorn holding onto this crazy with the collar.
Yep.
And
you see her thrashing her arms about. You can tell that Bjorn's recently been cupped in the nuts, and he's got that stance of somebody who's trying to fight back against nature's instincts. He really wants to end this woman.
Yeah.
Knock her out.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna go ahead and just pistol whip her.
Okay, strike.
Oh, she's flat-footed, right?
I'm gonna give you flat-footed here.
Oh yeah,
27 total with the flat-footed, but non-lethal.
That's a strike, not a crit.
It's the butt of the pistol.
But I do get sneak attack because she is flat-footed.
Oh yeah.
8 and 8, 16 plus 4 is 20.
You rush up to her, hit her with the butt of the rifle. You see stars shoot out of her head, and she just looks at you like, that's not enough.
Oh God. Oh.
Jesus. All right. I shrug and hit her again.
Roll.
Oh, that's gonna do it. 31.
Not a crit, but a hit.
Less than before. Let's see. 6 and 7 is 13 plus 4 is 17.
She drops limp.
I holster my pistol. What a lunatic. Bjorn, how you doing? Let me take a look at those cuts.
Do you want to cup my balls too?
Did she get them?
Where are the people in this restaurant? Is it mostly emptied out?
You see there are a few patrons frozen against the wall. The waiter's still pressing his shoulder blades against the back wall by the door where Banny came through.
Is there a space to drag her out of public view?
Banny gestures towards the alley he came through.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll go pull the car around. Oh, are we out of rounds?
Yeah, we're out of rounds.
Okay.
I'm going to drag her out into the alley.
She resists not at all.
Good, then she won't resist this either. I'm going to pull out one of my hand axes and remove her hands both at the wrist. Whack, whack.
You strike. It takes a couple because the blows aren't clean. Your rage prevents you from making a clean butcher cut.
Yeah, that's breaking my heart.
Banny, you watch in horror as the Viking goes into attack mode.
I see him go back out. I don't actually watch where he's going. I want to clear the front So I'm not even looking in that direction as he moves out. It's like I'll pull the car around to the back. So I assume that the car keys are on Rupert, and I'm gonna grab the keys out of his
You
pocket.
pull him off his cold corpse. Actually, no, the car was left idling, so they're.
Oh, it's I'm gonna talk to Cornell. Let's get him. Throw him in the back. We'll pull around.
Is
and pick him
Blanka
up.
anywhere around us?
No, Blanka and Robyn are still at the church. It's only been 18 seconds.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
Like
we'll call
5
it
minutes.
half a minute.
It was 5 minutes for us to walk around and do some stuff, and
Yeah. The time dilation, you're like, where are they? Where are they? And you're like, they probably just started talking with somebody on the inside of the church.
So those two they're gone. It's just me and the girl in the alley.
Yeah, we're moving Rupert into the back of the car.
Yeah.
Out front.
Mhm.
You chop off her hands and you see blood gushing out of her, and you recognize that you've introduced her to a bleed factor that might put her in the nether regions.
I have a solution for that. I am going to pop one of my thermite grenades, put it down in the alley, wait until I get that lovely white hot fountain going, and thrust her forearm stumps into it to cauterize them.
that
The
does
ritual-
damage too.
The ritual taking place in the alley behind there is one of the most brutal things, shy of a blood eagle, that has happened on this continent in a decade.
Oh man.
Yeah, she'll take a little damage, but it'll save her life.
Let's see. She went from non-lethal damage to lethal damage.
Damage is damage. There's not really a separate counter for non-lethal.
Right. Well, she wasn't in trouble till the lethal damage showed up. So we had bleeding that took place that took her from from a wounded condition to a dying condition. Then we burned her to stop the bleeding, which caused additional dying condition, but stopped the bleeding.
So she's at wounded 3 at this point. Is that what we're saying, or dying 3?
Dying 3. But
I'm an expert in Viking field medicine.
she's at dying 3, but she's not bleeding anymore.
Oh.
So she's stable.
No.
Yes.
If she's dying, she's not stable.
Yeah, so that'd be wounded 3. She'd be wounded 3 now.
Well, because if you're
Dying means you're actively dying, unless there's more to the story.
Well, we've done nothing to really heal her.
But you stabilized her by cauterizing the wound, so she's not
When you
bleeding.
stop the bleeding.
Stopped the bleed. We've not stopped the dying. So she's got one more round. Bjorn, you look at her and see her looking. Her mouth is doing that fish out of water kind of thing. And you see the life running from her body.
I wish I had even a little bit of medical knowledge. The only thing I know a little bit about anatomy, but that's not going to help here. Well, while she guppies on the pavement, I'll put her severed hands in my haversack and give her a good pat down, see if she's got anything of interest on her.
You pat her down as the life leaves her body. You pull a spell book from her pouch. You pull a purse with 300 marks and 120.
She should have one more round. I didn't put her at dying 1.
So she's got 6 more seconds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in case somebody thinks of something. I can't because I'm in the other area, but that gives Bjorn 6 more seconds.
Is there Chiron bars or anything like
Chiron
that?
bar, or do you still have one of those berries?
I I probably do have a berry.
Everybody, Robyn was very dedicated about making sure that everybody had the berries.
All right. If I have a berry, I will shove it into her mouth and masticate.
The gupping action also just automatically works, right?
Roll a 6-sider, Bjorn.
Oh, one.
You pull one of those fairy berries from your pouch. You're reluctant to try to save anybody of Echelon. It's not really in your nature to keep them alive.
Yeah.
You're
I
reluctant.
think I've shown tremendous restraint during this engagement. I'm quite proud of myself.
You reluctantly drop the berry into her mouth. Use your thumb to press it back past the esophageal entrance. She's gasping at air. You don't see any real blood or anything coming from her. She's just dealing with trauma that is somewhere else on her person. Her eyes are wide open and looking up at you. This isn't the first time you've watched someone die.
No, it's not. Is she dying?
She looks like she's dying. You see the berry go in, probably get down to the point where it might do some healing. She passes away.
Well, that was a waste of a berry. Anything else other than the money in her wallet?
You see you find a little flip pad notebook. You read Gallic, correct?
I do.
Just notes on the town itself. She does have comments on her comrades. She talks about young Sergeant Manon. He's an attractive young boy. Looks like he's got some promise. She talks about Private Minot, who is a friend of his. He's a very good driver. He does a nice job with the motorcycles. Private Gorget, who's also here on the mission. All these boys are so young. It's incredible that the military drafts people at this age. She has some notes too about Jeremy Folbert. She says she's worked with him in the past. He is a very efficient man, but he's caustic company. And she's looking forward to getting some distance from him once they get into Rajinka, maybe a little chance to get away to a cafe. Any time away from him is good time.
Anything about where they're staying?
Nothing about the hotel. She does bring up a person she refers to as Captain Laurent. He's the mission lead. He has been inappropriately assigned over Echelon agents on this operation because it has military oversee, and he has brought too many forces to bear for a simple operation. This is an extraction, not some kind of a airlift. She does mention in there that there is a yacht that is being used in this operation.
Is there a name?
She refers to it as the Moliere.
Okay. Tuck away the spell book, the notepad, take the cash out of her wallet, shove that in a pocket. Any room keys?
You find a hotel key. It's got emblazoned signal or sigil of the golden tulip.
Figured.
Anything else on her of interest?
Trinkets, bric-a-brac, stuff that people collect who are a little crazy.
All right. Well, I've already got the hands. Is there a dumpster in this alley?
There is.
All right. Take the head with the axe this time so I don't have to chop, chop, chop.
Mm-hmm.
Put the body in the dumpster and see if there's a rooftop I can pitch the head up onto.
You can't toss it 4.5 stories up.
Sewer manhole cover?
Yeah, you find one of those.
I'll pry one of those up and just bloop, drop it.
You get the little bloop
Awesome.
as it
And then-
moves its way towards the sea.
Walk out towards the street, wiping my hands on a rag.
You're not as bloody as you've been in the past, but
Cool.
probably that's because the people you've savaged haven't painted you from the front. You have your own blood.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a nasty little bitch. Used pieces of her dress to clean myself up. Walk back out onto the street, light a cigarette, and look around like I'm waiting for a taxi.
Yeah, well, while he's
Cornell,
been doing
Bjorn, you guys have fanned out in an attempt to do whatever.
that. Whoa, we're dragging
I got
the body.
I got the collar too. Did not leave that on the body.
Okay. Well,
I was
I
wondering
imagine
if
when
you
you
were
cut
going
the
to
head off,
mention-
it came free.
Didn't even have to unlock it.
Yeah. So both Cornell and I assume I said, here, let's grab the body. Let's take it out to the truck or to the car, throw it into the back.
There's
And-
room in the back seat. There's not a trunk to speak of.
Back seat's fine.
That's fine. And I'm going to get in the driver's seat. Well, actually, I'll point at Cornell if he wants to get in the driver's seat. I'll get in the other seat and I'll point around the corner.
We just parking?
We're just gonna go pick up Bjorn and the girl.
Oh, okay.
You pull around the corner.
Bjorn's sitting there.
You light up the sewing machine, drive it around the corner. You see Bjorn smoking a cigarette. His hands look like a butcher's hands.
Oh, fuck no.
You don't
I-
see a body anywhere. It's just Bjorn.
I stopped just shy. Still running. And I look over the body. Did he do what I think he did?
I roll down the window. What did you do?
Well,
Where
I
is
didn't
she?
eat her. Is there room in the car for me?
Yeah, you get to be with Rupert here. Make him look like he's talking. So
Shove the body over. Do a weekend with Bernie's. Sit him up in the seat. Sit down behind him
she,
or beside him.
and you've got the collar and it's all bloody. What the fuck? Roll up the window. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I started driving.
Yeah, she didn't make it.
She was fine when we left her. What did you do?
Cornell, you're driving?
Yeah.
You pull away. You motor down through the Corsair district, take a couple of turns. The annoying one-way signs take you on a roundabout. Where are you headed?
I'm just driving.
Hey, we should.
I don't
pull-
have a direction. I don't have a heading.
Let's pull over. Well, let's go in front of
I'm
the.
gonna drive about 5 blocks, maybe making 1 or 2 random turns, and then I'll pull over.
That's a good plan.
We need to dump this thing with the dead person in it.
You want to search him before you let him go?
Yeah, I'll search him while we're driving.
You find that you have the identification of a Rupert Manon. He is apparently a sergeant in the Clovian army. On him, you find a because his cutlass is probably on the floor. But under his coat, you find a Spitzer.
Damn.
Do you have room for that under your coat?
Yeah. Do you have
Holster
spare
number
magazines,
6.
Strip?
He has one spare magazine.
I'll hook the Spitzer up to my combat harness and shove his mags in a pocket.
Well, I say we go to Oceanside, drop the car off there, and then try and make our way back to the Harrowed God. Bottom left, far bottom left.
So you can exit through the freebooter port if you want to go out, or you looking inside the walls.
I don't know. Cornell, what do you think is a good idea?
Cornell, let's find a narrow alley, park this thing in as deep as we can, and get away from it.
Yeah, agreed. If I see a good opportunity to ditch the car in an alley, I'll pull into it.
Bjorn remembers the map he bought earlier in the shop and tells you that there's a small alley behind the Harrowed God Church towards the port that narrows to a point. Ditching the car there might be a good spot.
Smack Banny in the back of the head with my tour guide. And there was a Montenegrin pirate who had a secret meeting with the Clovians in that very alley.
Really? Does it just
1250.
every possible? There's no way he could know that. Nope. It's a secret meeting. Where's this guy getting his research? This is a lie. He's lying. He's just making shit up. That's what he's doing.
Cornell, you pull to the end of the alley, put the car in park. There are a number of other vehicles parked here. Looks like they're in service of the surrounding buildings. But this is a great place to leave a car if you don't want it to go get noticed for a while.
Yeah, I'll pull up next to one or two others. Maybe leave a space in between, but put it in a number of cars.
So you don't want to burn it.
Oh,
That's just going to draw attention.
Okay. Just checking.
As I get out of the car, I say to Cornell, I am so glad you used a silencer. That was brilliant. Let's see if there's a back door to this church. What? You're a silencer too. You just beat the snot out of her. And then what did you do? You just killed her?
Captured a live mage.
And then without, you know what? I don't actually regret her dying because she was a lot to handle. But maybe we could have just done an executioner style, the style you like, somewhere else after we had got a moment to talk to her. Just a moment.
Always complaining, always nitpicking. Bring the sergeant's ID with me so that they don't immediately identify the body when the police find him.
Do you want to pummel his face real quick? See if there leave no mark or dental work or anything like that? We'll leave. You can do that.
Drop the ID either in a postal box or an open sewer, whichever comes first.
Postal box. You guys backtrack around. You can see the Harrowed God Temple. The ladies are probably on the other side of that. It's likely they have finished with whatever business they had and are looking for their compatriots.
Walk out the front. I'm going to pull out the tessimeter again and click it as I walk to see if we move into that yellow spot again.
So there's a small archway that will take you on that street on the north side of the Harrowed God Temple, or you can make your way down to a broad street on the south side.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see where we're at.
I'm going to look for a public restroom that I can duck into for about 5 minutes.
There's actually a little portico over there with a symbol of a man standing over it, and a few feet away, a symbol of a woman. Looks like it's more like the old medieval pee in the ocean hole.
Nice. Is there a fountain or something nearby?
Outside, you see a little sink with a constant running stream where you could rinse your hands afterwards.
I will go utilize the sink, ask my companions to wait a moment, wash off the blood, the hands.
You're cleaning up there, and you hear the pitter patter of 2 feet running, or 2 pairs of feet running up as a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, by your estimation, come running your direction. You see one of them run into the men's room, the other one stand outside and look over at you. Hey, mister. He waves at you. He's 7, 8 years old.
What language is he speaking?
He speaks Gallic.
Gallic. Oui, what do you want?
Are you a fisherman?
Yeah, I am a fisherman.
You catch a big fish today?
Yeah, big bloody fish.
He smiles. He looks back towards the restroom where his brother went in.
I tell you what,
But
I left the fish at the docks. Peel off a 10 franc note from my buddy, or a 10 mark note. Go find the fish. It's as big as you are.
he
Bring it back
brightens,
to me.
he brightens like an ice cream truck had just pulled up in front of him, snatches it from your grasp, and goes running into the men's room.
Look what
Go
I
back
got.
and rejoin my friends.
Yeah. Wander around until we find an entrance to the Harrowed God.
North or south side?
Well, north is where we're at right now, correct?
Correct.
Let's make our way through the north.
You hear the crash of ocean waves just on the other side of the battlement walls.
Just be a lovely place to sleep. I feel like sleep right now. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Cornell, I hate to be a pest, but since the rage went away, I am feeling the effects of the events in the cafe.
Yeah, I offered to take a look at the slashes and whatnot. Now that we actually have a second,
Yeah.
let me do that.
You guys find a little discreet corner to take a look at things, and
Might
just
as well do it by the men's room.
you see a family carrying a cooler as they pad by you, stopping to look at the group of you. The conversation changes from, oh, where should we go on the beach, to what are those men doing?
Why aren't we going into the Harrowed God Temple? I mean, at least they tend to injure people.
Smile at them and tell them I cut my hand on a fishing knife.
The woman looks at the man. The man just says, keep going, keep going. He's got that stern-lipped kind of, don't fuck this up for me. We're on vacation.
I'm eyeballing their cooler thinking that'd be a great place to preserve her hands.
He has no idea he's escaping with your treasure chest as the two of them shuffle towards an exit towards the beach.
I look you over, patch you up, 9 hit points.
Thank you.
I purposely dig a little deep on one of the stitches, one of the sutures I'm giving you.
Oh, why do you do this?
I know you had good intentions, Bjorn, but that was excessive. And I yank it a little bit as I nod it.
Pull out my flip pad, but I did take some intel off of her and slap it into his hand. These are the names of other Echelon agents and her military backup. I know what hotel they're staying at, her room number, and that there is conflict between her and another mission leader and that they're working on.
I flip through it just super quick, pat you on the shoulder. I think we're good.
As brutal as his methods are, he manages to recover just enough information to make him not somebody you want to pitch off a boat in the middle of the ocean.
And I have her hands.
Can I ask why?
Any better?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have Isaac taxiderm them into interesting shapes.
Okay.
Perhaps I
Okay.
will make them into bookends. And I also have something for Blanka when I find her.
Well, let's get back to that. Bunny's already found a door right there. We'll meet up with him.
Good.
You hear bells chime in the distance, telling you it's about 5 p.m.
If we're actually going to scout this place out before our meeting, we need to do it.
We need to go get the girls. Let's get back to business. Although, talk about what happened, but don't tell them what happened.
Are we meeting or contact at the Church of the Harrowed God or at the restaurant?
We're meeting them at the restaurant. But the girls were in the church, so we're checking to see if they're still there.
Good.
You
Cornell,
eventually
do you
meet
want
up
the
with.
Spitzer?
Go ahead.
What did you say?
Do you want the Spitzer?
I don't have a good way to hide a Spitzer.
And
If you
quiet
need
as-
it, it's in underneath the left armpit. Give it a good yank, it will come loose.
I'll keep that in mind. Trust me. I will keep that in mind.
Excuse me. Do you need to excuse yourself if you're virtual? Probably not.
Was it a sneeze?
Yeah. Like, my sneeze has no effect on any of you.
I didn't hear a sneeze. I just heard
I
you
didn't hear a
excuse me.
sneeze.
Yeah. More of these virtual connections. We can dispense with old customs. You eventually hook up with Robyn and Blanka. They are standing out in front of the Harrowed God Church on the north side. Regardless of which way you come around, you eventually meet up with them. The two of them are standing outside. It's a little bit remarkable to you as you approach them that at a distance, the two of them are a remarkable pairing of femininity. You've got Robyn, who is runway model beautiful, voluptuous, dark raven hair that she's allowed to. Well, actually, so she's letting her darker red hair grow out, but she's no longer dyeing. And then the twiggy version of Blanka, who is also in that same venue. You guys, like, every man in the walls of this city should recognize them as the highest art form of womanhood.
Bjorn thinks that Robyn is more of a stripper body, and Blanka is more of the runway model that doesn't eat and weighs like 73 pounds, wet, holding a brick.
That's fair. The two of them are out front. You see that both of them are smoking cigarettes, though it looks more appropriate on Robyn than Blanka.
This sort of style, a sort of finesse that comes from practice.
Poke a cigarette at one of them and try to get them to light it for me.
You suck her butt?
Yep. Whisper to them that Banny's been causing trouble.
Where have you been? Robyn implores. Blanka just kind of gives you that wistful smile, like, yeah, I knew you guys would be a while.
Give her the wistful look back of, oh, you have no idea.
And neither of them do.
We should go. Well,
You
actually,
do
Cornell.
see the flashing lights at a distance of squad cars. I mean, it's really within line of sight.
Let's go down a side street, shall we?
I said we can go get a good view of the ocean from here, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
As
Actually,
long as we can go down the side street to get there.
you can backtrack the way you came. There's a
No,
sign.
let's not go stand by the body we just dumped.
Well, there's
You saw the site. You've got the map. You know the Harrowed Port is only a couple 100 yards away. You could get out onto the sands and just distance yourself.
Let's do that.
We're an hour away from our meet.
And it looks like it's only 2 blocks away from the shore. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Then let's go get some sea air and think about next steps. And Blanka, I have something for you.
She smiles, brightens up a little bit. She's
Yes.
excited.
I know you like presents.
You move through the portico out onto a couple of stone steps. There's a little bit of a gap between the last stone step and the first of the beach. There's been some erosion here. You drop down onto the sands. Off to your right, you see that there are a number of parasols, umbrellas, sun protectors, all that kind of thing heading northward out of view. The area just in front of you is pretty wide open. It's a little more rocky. The beaches to your north are pure sand. You look out and there are 2 islands just offshore, a larger one and a smaller one. It looks like the larger one once might have held some kind of a fortification, but it is eroded down to the foundations. The second one has a little bit more brickwork or stonework, but it's in not much of a better state. You also see what looks like a tiny causeway connecting the two, but the height of the water from the ocean buries half of it. You imagine at low tide, there's probably a way to walk to those islands.
Point out a nice little mound of sand not too far from the water. That looks like a good spot.
The girls kick off their shoes and walk barefoot across the sand. Robyn is probably closer to dressed for this occasion than Blanka. You see her kind of roll up the hem of her skirt a little bit, fold down the shoulders, and get herself fitted beach style. Blanka looks like she's got want for a suitcase and a change of clothing.
Take a minute to pop off my shoes and socks, tuck the socks into a back pocket, roll up my trouser legs, to about calf.
You wander out to the water's edge?
Not far from, yeah.
Yeah. You're at the edge of the Atlantic. The water here is, this time of year, beautiful. There's some relief in putting your feet in the water. The waves lap up over. Folding your pant legs up protects them from getting moist. Casting a gaze northward, clearly you're in an area that is far more liberal than much of the continent. You see bikinis are in fashion here. One pieces are more common, but you see 2 pieces liberally distributed across the beach, men and women moving around. Lots of smoking, conversation, drinking.
Scandalous.
The best. I walk up to Blanka and I say, "Hey, give me your camera. I'll take a picture of you. Everybody, get together."
She unslings the camera, hands it to you, starts to give you instruction, and recalls that you're probably adept at this. She smiles, hands it to you.
Yeah. The sun should make it so that it should the crystal clear picture. So I'll focus in, catch everybody in the sight, make sure that Bjorn moves in just a little bit. Another one. And then close it up and hand it back to Blanka.
You
always
all
have to.
A little overdressed in the summer sun out here on the beach. You're the most clothed people out here.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Bjorn, you're feeling like all those weapons and the coat that covers them, it feels like you're wearing fire.
Yeah. Fortunately, I'm wearing my Hellfire boots, so I don't notice it as much.
Fuck me, John.
What's that burning? What burning?
I'm going to take down the chainmail hood with the hoodie. Loosen up my gorget. Sit on the sand so I can see anybody coming toward us across the beach.
You are in a vacation paradise. And Your Viking is dressed like he's on an assault mission.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
The sun hangs mid-sky in the distance. You know you've got a good 4 or 5 hours before that thing disappears behind the horizon. People
See
are.
if I can wave Cornell over.
I spot you and walk on over.
Cornell, I think that you would probably be more adept at using this, and open my jacket and let him see the anti-magic collar. I just was very disappointed in my inability to close it on her quickly. Do you think you would be more adept with this?
It's a athletics to grab and then just an attack.
I thought it was an athletics for both. First, they have to be grabbed, and then, well, if it's the same number for me.
Unarmed
So
strike.
What's your number?
unarmed is 16.
We're gonna be exactly the same. Although your athletics might be higher. Your athletics is higher. I'm only trained.
All right.
If you feel like you're better off not using it, I can take it off your hands, but you got there. You
Would
managed it.
Eventually. Would it help if I grabbed the subject and then someone else snapped on the collar? Because I found it difficult to control her with one hand and try to snap it on with the other. I felt like I was at a disadvantage.
Maybe take a little bit of time to immobilize her. So if you grabbed her, then held her arms down so she couldn't move, so she couldn't actually cast or anything like that, she'd still be able to worm out possibly, but you would be in full control of her.
It's hard to do that though. So I don't know if that is better than trying to wrestle it onto her while she's still mobile.
Well, if we are the same, and I'm certain you are faster than I am, I'm carrying a lot of other things. I would feel better if, yes, it was a success, but I would feel better if someone else was carrying the collar.
If you aren't comfortable with it, I will take it from you. But
Bjorn hands it over.
Done and done.
And Banny, you were right on the money. Your suggestion was perfect.
But what
I followed
suggestion?
your advice.
What advice besides killing? I look over at the girls. What advice?
Motion him over, open up my haversack so he can see the hands inside.
Oh, fuck.
When that happens.
I point at Cornell and say, "Look in there."
he told me he had him. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, yeah. You can't cast, or you can maybe some, but just don't show that to Blanka. That's too much.
No. I have something else for Blanka, not this. I just wanted to tell you that I appreciated the tip.
Well, I'm glad we could communicate this way. Like a finger, or what? What have you got? An eyeball? What are you gonna give Blanka? Just body part stuff is weird.
Harumph. Just harumph at him and go find the sorceress, Blanka.
She's got her feet in the ocean, rolled up hemline so that she doesn't get her clothing wet. She looks up.
What was the Echelon mage's name?
Fleur.
You pull her ID, and it identifies her as Paige Segal. But you know from the memos back at headquarters, she's known as Fleur.
Pull out her spell book and present it to Blanka. For you.
She takes it, Looks inside.
I don't know if she was more powerful than you or not. None of it makes any sense to me.
Where did you get this?
I think you heard me mention the previous owner in the past tense. We should leave it at that. Pat her on the head and go back up the beach.
She blinks as you walk away out of the surf, waves washing over her ankles. You see it's getting the hem of her dress wet. She's clearly bemused.
It's gonna take a lot of drinking.
The group of you notice that out on the closest island, there is a cluster of people out there. At this distance, it's probably 400 yards. You can see that there are at least a dozen people gathered on that little shore line. You're pretty sure you make out the tripod of a camera, cinema camera. As you're watching, you can tell that the people on that near island are dressed in period costumes. It looks like they're doing some kind of a filming production. If you had to guess, somewhere in the golden age of piracy. You see high boots, mid-thigh, brocade vests, floppy hats with feathers, cutlasses on hip, and of course, the standard dress of the film crew in their proximity.
That looks like fun.
No,
Maybe we should dress up as pirates.
no.
No, I totally think so. You can dress up as a Viking. I'll dress up as a pirate.
You've caused enough trouble today. Stay away from the cameras.
Oh. Let's go get our job done. Can we? I'm roasting on the sands, and I swear I saw the glint of a spyglass over there, and it was looking towards us. And I don't think it was a spyglass. I think it was a scope. So let's move on from this sniper fest that we.
Now you are just making up stories. Team leader, are you ready to go?
I check my watch.
You've got about 15 minutes before 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we should get going.
Good.
Hopefully
You
everything's
see
cleared.
Robyn has gathered up a number of seashells. She's got them clutched in her hands. You see her looking in the shallows for that perfect specimen. Blanka is actually assisting her in this process. This is the first time you've really watched the two of them almost performing as their younger selves.
I guarantee that Blanka never ran along the shore after she was 13, 12. Picked up shells. So yeah, probably 7 or 8 when she was still interested.
Cornell, just as a reminder, if the flip pad is correct, there are still 4 more Echelon or Echelon affiliated operatives at large.
It might be worth checking into the. I checked the notepad again. The Golden. What's it? Hotel? The Golden Tulip. Is there a room number on the key?
There is. Read it off to him.
She's on the 3rd floor, 314.
Well, let's see what our contact has to say, and then we might have some late night work, I think.
Good.
It's just in the name of the job, baby.
I continue flipping through the notebook as we start walking, just kind of following my companions, but head down in the notebook, reading her notes.
You leave the beach and back into the city.
Mm-hmm.
It is not lost on you as you look from the beach up to the battlement walls that this is a fortress town. And those little narrow openings that you move into and out of are kind of the only ways in and out of this confined space. Looking at the maps you've seen, the ones you picked up in the shops along the way, there are not that many ways in and out of the city. A quick head count tells you there's 7, 8 at the most.
So we passed through the Harrowed port back the way in.
Mhm.
Does it still have working gates? Are they able to seal these off easily, or is that all
You
antiquated?
see there's an old portcullis pulled up inside. It probably hasn't been dropped in decades. Maybe it can't even be dropped. It's more ornamental than actual. But it does feel like a pinch point to you. Cornell, your hackles go up as you realize that once you get inside the walls, if trouble happens, there are only a limited number of ways out.
Right.
Bjorn, you remember from your earlier encounter with Fleur that she was all about fire. Immolation was probably her fetish and her magical ability. The fact that she didn't light that entire cafe up in some kind of fireball still kind of amazes you.
Well, I'm starting to suspect that's exactly what was going to happen if I hadn't headbutted her so hard. She was going to turn me into a wicker man.
It's been 7 months since you last laid eyes on her, but it's good to know that she's in the grave and not in the future.
Well, considering my anxiety attack and my meltdown, I'm feeling a whole lot better having put a couple of Echelon people down, and especially a mage.
Yep. They're not invincible. Whew.
You guys wander back into the city, down side streets, in front of the Harrowed God Church, headed towards the Corsair district. Foot traffic is still brisk this time of day. There are people making their way back in from the beach, people heading out for evening dining. It just feels like a tourist town. You don't necessarily fit that mold, but you blend in.
Keeping an eye on, are there still blue lights down at the end, or has it cleared up since we left?
Are you using the tessimeter? What's
looking down the road. I want to see if there's police cars pulled over there still.
Yeah, actually, it's the corner by the coffee shop is still filled with blue lights.
Okay, hug that church, baby.
You peel off and turn south at the edge of the Harrowed God Church. Take a divergent path towards La Brigantine. You're not the only ones out on the street. Lots of people looking in windows, window shopping. Screams and chatter fill the afternoon air. There's just kind of a sense of revelry and joy and escape here. Doesn't feel like a threatening place.
It's perfectly fine. I'm sure everything is great. I glance over at Bjorn and Cornell.
You're fine. I'm fine. We're all fine.
We're all fine.
And Lady Usher struck again and left a handless, headless corpse behind a cafe.
A little bit different than our usual MO, but close enough.
Yeah.
Scissors, axes, grenades.
It just took so many strikes for those little hands to come off, and we haven't been able to find them.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of messy. Raggedy.
Oh, yeah, look. Is that the place we're supposed to go to? I'm tired of this conversation.
You guys get to the end of the street. You look forward towards the building. There's a small restaurant. I think they're doing pretty brisk business. Most of the tables are full. The wait staff shuffles between tables, delivering plates and refreshing drinks. From where you stand, the lights on the interior are just starting to compete with the shadows that are falling across the city, giving the interior more light than the exterior. There's no outside dining in here. It looks like it's all under the roof.
Proceed to head on in.
You step inside. You see that there's a large blackboard on the outside of the building, kind of laid up against the side. It looks like somebody has written the menu for the day on there. Something relating to black wheat cake features prominently on the menu here. Many of the items on the list are referred to using that black wheat cake flour. As you look around the restaurant, you can see that any of the baked goods that you've seen in other restaurants tend to have that tan or bronzed look. Everything here has a blackened nature around the baking. The front of the house, the restaurant's divided into two sections. There's the front and the back. They're divided by a large arched section. There is a section for the wait staff to gather in the front, a number of tables in the back. It looks like all told, there are a dozen tables in the front and a similar number in the back. Restaurants at about 70% capacity.
Is there a host or hostess?
There's a host at the front, a mustachioed man, his hair slicked back with a fair amount of oils, mustache, tiny little goatee. He moves up as you enter. Monsieur, how may I help you this evening?
Looking for a friend. He should have a reservation or possibly already a table. A Mr. Jacques Lemont.
I don't have a name per se. He motions towards the back of the restaurant. You see that there are, again, a dozen tables back there. There are a number of parties grouped together, but you see a large table that could seat up to 8 with a single individual there. Seated at the table is a solitary man. You see that there is a bottle of wine on the table, a glass in front of him. The bottle's probably had a couple of pours from it.
Yeah, that would be him.
He motions and just extends his hand in towards the restaurants. Yeah, find your seat if you wish.
Is there an empty table nearby?
The restaurant
of that table.
The restaurant's full enough in the back that his table is the only one with really open seats. You could take a seat with somebody else, but there are no empty tables.
Ask someone if I could. Well, see if there's an unattended chair. And
there's a small counter space by what looks like a bakery counter where you could take a seat.
I'll take a seat there. I just want to be able to see our group at a little bit of a distance and to see anybody approaching them.
Okay. You pull up short, take up a stool as the rest of the group moves in. The man in the chair looks youngish, in his mid-20s, hair is slicked over on both sides. He's in a suit, slender tie, dark, little napkin, well-dressed, clean-shaven, handsome.
Take off my sport coat, the sweat stains that are, going all the way in circles. Hang the sport coat over one of the chairs and probably 2 or 3 back from where he's at, leaving space for Cornell to have a discussion. Pull one of the chairs back. Well, I don't know if the girls start lining up, but I'll help them before actually taking a seat.
As you move into the area around the table for 8, the individual there stands, adjusts his tie, plays with his jacket a little bit, and prepares to greet the group of you. He nods and bows a couple of times, motioning for you to sit down.
I take off my hat and sit somewhat close to him, within a chair or two.
Good afternoon, evening. I have not checked my watch. I am Jacques Lemont. You are?
Cornell Weiss. This is Benny Okind, Blanka Bess, and Robyn Durant.
Nice to make your acquaintance. To the ladies, he kisses the backs of their hands.
I just nod. Keep my distance and nod.
Please be comfortable. He reaches out for the wine bottle on the table. He motions to the wait staff to bring him some more glasses. They respond fairly quickly. He freely pours the remaining liquid from his bottle into your glasses, orders another one. This one you can see he was drinking a white. He orders a red. Thank you for making this meeting. We have had an interesting number of days, and it is good to see some friendly faces.
We appreciate you reaching out.
He's dressed in the fashion of the day. His suit's 3 to 6 months old at best. It's cut, current styling. His hair looks like he's had a haircut within the last 2 days. He's just well kempt. Everything about him says that he is orderly and fashionable. He has one menu in front of him, hands it across to you. May I recommend something for you to dine on this evening?
I'm sure the food's fantastic here. Why don't you go ahead and order?
It is not the most stellar of places to dine, but they have a unique take on their cuisine. They have a full menu, which I could recommend if you are hungry. Are you hungry?
We ate just a couple hours ago, but some appetizers might be nice.
I
The
raise my
black flour
hand.
fruit cakes are immaculate here. Their smoked meat and vegetables served in the pâtés of black flour wheat are fantastic. He snaps his fingers a couple times. The waiter comes over. He orders Kia Brenton, black currant cream and cider, black wheat cake with salted butter, a Nordic cake, Scottish smoked salmon. Says make sure it's the red label. That is the best one. Lemon farm fresh creams and chives, homemade chocolate pancake, and a bowl of cider, and then follow it with coffee. He kind of lists off the order of your menu as it will come out.
That solves all my problems. It sounds like you just ordered dessert for the entire meal. Is that did I get that right?
He chuckles. We are in Regenka. This is a city full of flavors, tastes, and appetites. Make sure that you will get the full tour of the city while we're here. I appreciate that you have attended here, and I mean to make you feel comfortable while we discuss business.
Well, dessert always makes me feel comfortable. Carry on.
Look in the bakery case, see if they have lady fingers, and chuckle to myself.
You look at the bear claws and have a little chuckle to yourself.
It's all kinds of pastry humor here.
Jacques Lemont turns to your group. I must apologize. Previous to this meeting, I have not heard of your organization. Initially, when we reached out to get some assistance in this matter, we sent a message to lead. I'm not sure how this information was passed on to your group, but I have heard positive things about the Nachtrichter and look forward to working with you. A little history for you. Regenka is host to many affluent families across the nation. This is a bountiful ocean town with a history of roguishness, which we tend to still embrace. My employers used to use this area as an operational base for unsanctioned distribution of alcohols and other ministrations that help this soul to deal with regular life. My employer, Ania Medesa, met an unfortunate end 2 weeks ago. I'm here on behalf of her sisters to assist you in our forward missions. We had, he looks around the restaurant, making sure that nobody else is really within earshot. We discovered this blood prints within our city almost 4 weeks ago. My employers, the three sisters, formulated a plan to eliminate him. Things did not go as we had planned. They had planned. I cannot invite myself to this party. My employer, Ania, perished in the encounter to terminate the blood prints. That was 2 weeks ago. We reached out to LEAD, and I assume they contacted your organization, and you are here to assist us in completing our mission to eliminate the blood prints. There are matters here that you should be aware of. The sisters, Medesa, had brought together several forces to attack the blood prints when he left the college on his way to his apartment. It was there that things went sideways. I was not there, so I'm giving you this secondhand. My employer was dispatched quickly from magics summoned by the blood prince. The others tried to respond to this, but were unable to catch him before he could find the solace of his retreat into his apartment. The other two sisters of this organization have sworn to eliminate the blood prince, but we require your assistance in this matter to finish it. For we are distracted trying to cover for my boss's contributions to the funding of this organization. I'm sorry, I have a lot of things in my head, and there are too many pieces to recount. What I'm essentially saying is that the two Medesa sisters that remain will assist in what ways they can to distract or offer up a counterpoint to whatever measures you do to bring the blood prince to bear. He lives 2 blocks adjacent to the college campus. He spends most of his time on the campus. As he moves between those 2 points, the only thing we have observed about him is that he and his pet bulldog are the only companions as he moves between those points.
It sounds suspiciously innocuous.
Well, let us discuss the bulldog. We have detected that the pet that he keeps with him constantly has some kind of illusory magic veiling its real properties. It is, as far as we can tell, a bulldog. But because we have detected that it is not as it presents itself, the illusory magic is masking something about it. We don't know the whole nature.
I turn to Cornell. Do you mind if I chime in?
Go ahead.
So, I just want to clear some things up.
Mhm.
We're
That's
here.
perfect.
We're here to help you remove him from your presence. We have the contribution of two, I assume, powerful wizards.
The Medesa sisters have a connection with magic. That is absolute. Yes.
I expect so, considering the name of your organization, at least in tribute. So, but they are withdrawn. They are leaving it to us to deal with this situation however we see fit.
They
Now,
mourn their sister. They lost her in an attempt to take out the Blood Prince when he left the campus towards his residence. She has perished, leaving a hole in the organization.
it is understood, but I would call for vengeance more than mourning at this point. Now, I
The
understand
sisters would agree with you, yes.
we'll give them opportunity to do. You see, here's the thing. He's not the only one we have to worry about right now. The time that has passed has allowed others to be interested as well. Do you know of this?
We have been tracking the arrival of certain businessmen into the city. They occupy several prominent hotels, Le Golden Tulip and Le Plongeur, for their subordinates. We have seen their incursion into the city and we are tracking it.
Excellent. Well, the nature of them is that they are skilled at tactics and war for the most part. The only way we can actually deal with them is to catch them unaware. But in addition to the forces that are here to extricate the Blood Prince and bring him back into the arms of the king, it's not going to be a simple task. Do you have more for your organization than just the two sisters? Is there more forces that we can call on, or at least eyes, or communications, or information that we can call on?
We have eyes and ears in most hotels and the boulevards and beaches. If there is information you require, there is someone who can perhaps procure that.
Do you have any connection with anybody on campus?
That is limited from our perspective. We have tried to infiltrate the campus for years, and that has not fared well for us. We have kept up surveillance around the campus, but any incursions onto the campus proper have resulted in a negative effect.
Are the two sisters powerful enough to interfere with the scrying protections of the campus,
Perhaps
even for a
disrupting.
limited time?
We can disrupt for an hour or two, perhaps, but that is the most that they could do on short notice.
Okay. Even once we take the Blood Prince, our organization is concerned with his research, so we will need some way to retrieve that.
Yes, we have tried to probe deeper into understanding the nature of his research, but we have come up with little information. At best, we can say that there has been congress between him and the Middle Welkin.
That's not surprising. Do you have any connection with the law enforcement of the city?
Yes, they are a counterpoint to our operations.
I assume so, but you have to ask.
We are not in opposition to them directly, They are an impedance to our operation.
And you don't have any inroads with them to keep things quiet when need to be?
There are some detectives who would take money to look the other way, but as an organization, they are difficult to persuade.
Might I trouble you for the names of a couple of detectives in case we need to give some bribes out?
I can give you names, districts that they are in charge of.
That'd be helpful.
Of course, I will help in any way I can. Again, I'm flying a little bit untethered here because my boss is absent.
Are you now working for the two sisters instead of the one?
I am an agent on their behalf. I get instructions and directions from them, but they are busy women, and I do not have full guidance. So I have some operational directive capabilities and some autonomy.
Well, let's confirm who we're dealing with. First off, we're a respected organization. We're trying to, stay on the up and up. We do have a charter that we have to support. I do want to meet these sisters. Is this something that can happen?
I can arrange it. You can imagine that they are busy, but I will make arrangements.
That would be appreciated. Now, you've mentioned that our prince, this blood prince, he travels to and from his apartment, but his apartment is heavily protected, and the campus, of course, is heavily protected. Is that a correct assumption?
Indeed, yes.
And he himself is incredibly powerful in his own right.
We would not be missing one of the sisters if he were a pushover.
Yes. Which doesn't bode well for much other things for us, but we'll take it in stride. How often does he leave campus?
It is hard to predict. He does keep an apartment within a few blocks of the campus, but the regularity of his visits home are hard to predict. Stefano Medesa, the oldest of the sisters, she is the one who is most fervent to get revenge for their lost sister. She has said that our coffers have been opened wide to ensure that he does not leave the sanctuary of this town. And it is within my operational purview to make available to you any means possible to bring his demise. If there's something I can afford you, some information I might find, please just ask.
I think we'll start with a meeting with the sisters. Like Bonnie said, we'd like to know who we are working with.
Uriel Medesa and Stefano Medesa are the two remaining sisters. As you imagine, they are busy. I can make an arrangement for the meeting. I don't believe it can be tonight, but perhaps as early as tomorrow.
Tomorrow will be just fine. Now, have you noticed any urgency around withdrawing him from this location by these other forces?
The Blood Prince?
Yeah, they're marshaling. Does he want to go with them, or is he, lagging behind because his research is not complete and he's waiting to put a capstone on that?
So 2 weeks ago, my bosses moved against the Blood Prince. During this operation, Anya was killed. The other two sisters managed to escape. The encounter, we thought we had the element of surprise, but clearly he had been at least protected, if not defended, against some kind of assailant. They attacked him just outside of his apartment, and that was where things went sideways.
Do you know how things went sideways, or is that part of the conversation we need to have with Uriel and Stefano?
They can give you more detail. I am only privy to the fact that they failed in their mission.
All right, we will follow up with them when we have a chance to meet with them tomorrow.
As he sips at his wine, you can tell there's something else on his mind that he's reticent to say. He just takes another gulp instead of divulging any information.
I'll worm my way into that. Just lean into him with a little bit of, we're here. We need to know all the information. What aren't you telling us?
Diplomacy.
Diplomacy. Good. That's a 20. 26. It is a 26.
He sets down his glass of wine, calls the waiter over. Absinthe, please. Sugar? Plain? You partake?
I will.
They bring over a bottle of the Green Fairy. You see them do a pour around the table for anybody who has a glass. They bring over hollowed spoons and sugar cubes. The waiter brings over a long match, which he strikes and alights all of the sugared spoons with the absinthe on top. One by one, he tips them into the glass and stirs it to create a cloudy green mixture. Your host reaches for his as soon as the sugars have dissolved, takes a deep draw from the glass.
I'm going to just touch it lightly.
The Witch of Augustina is an organization that is almost a century old. The sisters here represent a wing of this organization outside of Clovia. There are others. La Anya Bedesa, my former boss, when she perished in this moment, surrendered great power to this man. I find myself conflicted in this moment because she was a very powerful caster, stricken down by another of her kind. Her sisters did not take kindly to her loss, and they went about a ceremony to bring her back.
Okay.
This did not go as expected. Now the night streets are not safe.
The lady.
My former boss, she haunts the streets. She claims lives as she sees them. There are little protections against her. She is an agent of death.
We did a little investigation ourselves. We saw some of the places where the Wall between worlds was thin, which is usually a result of such magic.
She is no Lady Usher. She is
No.
worse. She is far worse. I myself do not venture onto the streets at night. For those who she recognizes, she will kill on sight. It is the way of things when you are dead. The friendly faces seem angry and foreign to you. Those two souls perished. They were lucky. There will be many more before she is gone. I lament that we have released this onto the streets, that the sisters' ceremony, the ritual had gone astray. I have no power to stop it.
Here's the thing. We have a charter that says nobody can play with the dead. Nobody performs necromancy to bring people back from the dead. Any of this it puts our position at risk to engage.
There is a possibility to turn this to an advantage. He reaches and pulls a chain from around his neck. You see one of the 4 Vedician gods. This will call to her. I wear it because I am safe in my protocols. I am at home in my bed before dark. But once night falls, she is the venom of darkness. But if you wish to see her, he holds the chain up. This will summon her.
Okay. Summoning a bloodthirsty ghost does not sound like something I want to do. You said there's an advantage here. Is it does she have information? Does she have knowledge or insight that may give us an advantage?
She is an unstoppable force against an unstoppable force. If you wish the Blood Prince dead, this totem might bring 2 unreconciled opponents together.
Sorry, I missed this. Is this Lady Usher they're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
But actually, Lady Escher is the deceased of the Medesa sisters. And the Medesa sisters tried to bring their sister back, with a ritual clearly against the Burgundia Accords. Sorry, that's not it.
The Ledger
Accords.
Domain, yeah.
Accords. Anyway, so you carry this with you. You give this to me right now?
I am only safe with it because I follow the protocols. I am not out after dark. Her powers in sunlight are moot.
Okay. Well,
Does she act outside of this talisman?
She preys on those she deems vulnerable. It is only fortunate that individuals have been targeted to this point. She could destroy legions if she wished. She is the dead. She is the walker of the night. There is nothing that can stop her unless we reach beyond the grave and pull her anchor.
so
Do you know what it is? Do you know what's anchoring her here?
She is angry that she has been brought back against her will. The failed ceremony, her sisters, they are scared for themselves. In their love, they tried to bring back their sister, and they have engineered hate.
So no wonder they stay secreted away. Breakfast, luncheon, I assume, or breakfast, or breakfast. Anyway, Strong
Perhaps I can-
daylight.
Perhaps I can make an appointment for you to make coffee with the sisters, but tonight they will not reveal themselves.
No expectation there.
Coffee sounds fantastic.
Now, how many wizards reside in the college?
There are many junior members. There are affluent families across Icenia and Clovia, even Burgundia, send their children here to learn. There are perhaps 50, 60 students, a
But-
dozen faculty.
And it's the faculty in particular, considering the fact that he is probably a known quantity on that campus. I would like to understand who his sympathizers are.
He has perhaps resided here 2 years under our noses without identification. Mistakes on his part made him available to us only in the last 4 weeks.
He might be advancing his agenda more quickly.
He has been doing research. We have been looking into this to discover the nature of it. Of course, my ladies have learned through divinations that he is working in contracts with Beyond the Veil. But the absolute nature of his work is still unknown to us. I can say that members of Echelon have arrived within the last 3 days, and they are growing in numbers. There is also a very prominent yacht in the harbor near Bastion Port, which is a recent arrival and carries Clovey in numbers.
Interesting. So we expect it. Why hasn't he left? Can you express or explain why?
The attack on him was 2 weeks ago. We've known about him for 4 weeks. The fact that he has not left yet tells me that there is something still of substance here that he must extricate. The arrival of the Echelon agents tells me that it is a substance of some matter, meaning it has corporeal form that he must remove. Now, with the current curfews in place, nighttime would be a perfect time for him to extricate him and his research. We must be on guard, even though we are permitted or prevented from being on the streets.
Interesting.
I have had difficulty within my organization motivating my lesser members to wander out onto the streets after dark. Motivation in the form of coin is expensive and does not last long. If there is a certain measure of reconnoiter that you recommend, I can pay for it, but it is not limitless.
For the most part, it would be just observation, documenting schedules, and seeing if there is a time where most of these different activities would occur. But once it happens, it's too late, and it seems like we are very, very short on time.
We have witnessed armored vehicles, motor cars, motorcycles with sidecars, etc., which tells me that there is some kind of egress in the near future, which requires an armed escort. Echelon and their extended network are here to remove the blood prints, and we must see that he is not.
Exactly. Oh.
I think at
Spring
this
break coming
point-
soon? Get all the kids out of the school and just burn it down, right? Yeah.
Don't tempt him with a good time. So the way I see it, our steps from here are we may do some reconnoiter tonight, but we really need to talk to the sisters tomorrow and see how and why they failed to take him down. If we can happen to catch the blood prints and his bulldog walking, it would be great to get a picture of the dog with the spectral litho and develop that.
There are alchemists within the city who can develop film. I'm not familiar with this spectral lethal.
We may need to make a call to Isaac to get the ins and outs on developing that, but we can probably make do here on the island with his instruction. I think once we have those two pieces of the puzzle, I think we can develop a concrete plan. As for Echelon, I think we should continue to hunt their members. They can't move the blood prints out if they can't develop a foothold in the city.
I understand there was a disturbance a few blocks from here earlier in the day. Is that anything to do with your organization?
Look over to Bjorn.
Bjorn just scowls.
Yes, it was.
Bjorn face palms.
We're looking for opportunities, though. If you know these members,
We have not worked with Nachtrichter before. I did not know of the name of your organization before 2 days ago. You have a good reputation from what network inquiries we could make, but we are dealing with the blood prints here. I hope you know that this is not something ordinary.
never expect anything ordinary out of this. Not somebody who can perceive what's going on here, but know that we're somewhat experienced in these matters. Your organization, however, is not one that I'm familiar with. But, Cornell.
Which is why we're having coffee with the sisters tomorrow.
Get up from the bakery now that I've been outed. Come over and stand near our
Oh, I thought you already came over with
No, I
me
was still
talking
sitting
to
over
Bonnie. Well,
stand there with my arms folded and look at the little man and say, "Do you have access to the explosives?"
Not in the conventional sense, but we can provide some fireworks. Short
I
notice.
am looking for about 10 kilos of compound B detonators and a trigger.
This is not a military organization. We are a resistance to spell casting. The ordinance you request is unusual.
It is. So is this situation. Perhaps as a show of good faith, you could speak to the black market contacts you have, which I'm sure, being here in the city, you have them. We will have need of that in order to help facilitate your mission. In fact, it would be wonderful if during our meeting for coffee, you could present us with that show of good faith.
Anya, he gestures the Venetian church sigil in front of him. It was within her purview to bring in such materials, illegal liquors, weapons, etc. The organization has been disrupted to degrees which are hard to recover from on short notice. I will put out the request, but I can promise nothing.
Might be able to pull something together from the alchemists in the city, among other things.
We are a tourist town. Do not perceive us as a larger venue for disruption. We have people who can develop photographs and create homunculi but beyond that, we are on the edge of the developed world.
I heard that somebody exchanged 15 prostitutes for a 15-pound cannon. Is that what it was?
He breaks out in laughter, reaches across for his glass of absinthe, and takes another deep draw on the green fairy.
Cheers.
I like you, gentlemen, ladies. I will do what I can to accommodate you. We are in stressed times, and my employers want to see action and revenge for their losses. So I will bring all forces to bear on your behalf.
We appreciate that. Again, we do have our own objectives here, but I think we can work side by side. I think they align in
Tell your
most
later
ways.
friends, it is late in the day for sunglasses.
They do what they want. They think they look good in them. I'm not here to tell them how to dress.
He smiles, sips again at his drink. Gentlemen, I will make arrangements for breakfast. Reunion. You are staying at the Ibis Hotel?
That's correct.
I will send notice to the manager for arrangements for the meeting.
Thank you.
I apologize for the lack of information in this encounter. Things are very fluid.
It's understandable, but hopefully they can be a little more concrete tomorrow.
Your Viking gives me confidence. Perhaps he can smite what we could not.
He can smite a lot of things.
He can smite a lot of things.
But it takes a village. And I expect your help.
It takes a village to kill a wizard.
It takes a village to kill a wizard. I don't like to say that considering the origins of this organization that you belong to.
No, the better wordplay is raise, R-A-Z-E. Takes a village to raise a wizard.
Right. If our host leaves, I want to sit at the table and just lean forward with some observations as I sat at the bakery counter.
He does take a last swig from his drink. He doesn't finish it. And you see him stagger slightly as he exits the establishment. He clearly is trying to assuage whatever fears he has and went a little bit beyond his charter.
These are my observations. I have no doubt that the Blood Prince and his illusory bulldog are bad. And I have no doubt that Echelon wants whatever it is that he's cooking up to get him back to Clovia. But I am not convinced that these sisters are on the side of goodness. I am worried that they are just as bad as he is. Perhaps I've read too many fairy tales, but their last name sounds an awful lot like Medusa. I would hate to have our breakfast meeting and find out that they're not what they appear to be. But Blanka should investigate.
I think we have proof that they're not on the right side of this necessarily. I point to the talisman that Bounty's holding. Yes,
and that is another concern. They've unleashed this thing on the streets, but we were told when you asked them, are they casters? He hedged and said they have magical abilities. But that is not the same thing as a spellcaster. We have met many creatures of darkness that have abilities.
You're
I
absolutely
will
right.
go wherever you need me to go, but let us beware of who we climb into bed with. And in case you are wondering, the explosives are so that I can sink the yacht.
I was curious. That's a good plan, though.
I
was wondering if you were planning on dropping the university via the sewers or something.
Well, first I thought I would turn it into a vest and hug the blood prince, but I'm not quite that much of a zealot. No, I want to either sink or disable the yacht, so one avenue of escape is closed off.
Yeah. I was thinking you were going to detonate the apartment. Apartment seems to be something that we could at least clear the civilians from before we take the whole thing down.
So, one more thing. This bothers me the most. These three sisters are of tremendous power. Yes?
That's
The
what we're led to
Supposedly.
believe.
The one that was killed supposedly surrendered great power to this blood prince.
Yes.
The three of them together were unable to defeat the blood prince. And yet we still don't know what the bulldog is or was. I feel that somebody's not telling us the entire story.
I think you're right.
And if they are so powerful, what will two do that three could not? Why do they need us?
I think that it might have been direct confrontation, for one, but you're absolutely right. Lost great power to him, meaning that power was surrendered to him, and what does that mean?
And so perhaps we are being used as fodder to loosen him up so they can come in and clean up?
Well,
I'm concerned.
this is where we can ask all those questions again. And honestly, we do not have to help them, but this situation helps us in the sense of removing his research from the equation. But I don't. How do we get to his research? They can be as upset as they want to. They have no qualms about trying to raise somebody from the dead. So we already know that they're aligned with not necessarily us, but intent.
And is he a necromancer? Do we know?
I guarantee he's got tethers into
Could
that.
they want his research to help restore their sister?
I don't think that wasn't their original plan. Their plan could have changed, but I mean she was alive before they attacked him.
I just feel like we are being used.
I
My concern.
I think we're all in agreement on that. It's just a matter of figuring out how or why we're being used. And if it aligns with what we want, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. If they achieve something by us getting what we want, more power to them. But if it creates a problem for us, then we need to address that.
Jacques been gone for 10 minutes now. You sit at his table. The other occupants of the rear portion of the restaurant have slowly filed out as you get closer to the late evening.
We should head home.
Well, let's talk about that just real quick. They pay people to be out after dark, and they rarely have problems as long as Anya doesn't sense them as being a target. Is that correct?
I think that the remaining hidden or remaining out of sight or wrong place, wrong time situation that might be going on is something else. I could see people observing from windows or within buildings. I didn't expect them to be just standing out on the street at midnight, if you know what I mean.
But if these victims were all solitary, then it should not be an issue for us to travel in a group back to the hotel.
That's my instincts.
I thought that, but then Jacques, he said it. He said that she would tear through multiple people if
she had reason to.
Jacques doesn't strike me as having great credibility.
Jacques doesn't. He dresses really, really nice. He dresses like a smuggler.
Do you trust smugglers, Bunny?
No,
Yes.
but I trust them to get me really good tobacco.
I just think it's interesting that he has such detailed memory and yet it's so selective. He can tell us how dangerous this woman is now that she's a spirit, but had very little information about how dangerous the sisters were alive. It smells like the reeking gutters of Rotterdam. Yes, that is it.
I was just going to say shit, but you know, you just added quite a bit more.
Yes.
He said the same thing, only better.
More poetically.
Yeah.
And now Bjorn must take his hydrocodone and sleep. You are welcome to carry on, and I will connect afterwards and find out how everything went.
Will do.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
It was
Get
a
some
lot of
rest,
fun,
John.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bjorn checked out early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was sending messages, and he's
Pain
really,
and meds.
Yeah, pain meds. Icky. Well, we should head back to the hotel and maybe have various and sundry conversations about what's next.
All right.
I don't. I mean, I don't. I absolutely agree. I don't trust much of what's going on here, and I want to help, but that's usually my problem. Is that I help too much?
You're too helpful.
Too damn helpful. Especially giving up Bjorn and having him roll his eyes at me and say, "Oh," but he came over and talked to me, so I figured it was a known quantity at a certain point.
Oh yeah, that I read that too, and I thought he had already joined the conversation. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
You've got 2 more hours of daylight.
Well, let's head back to the hotel and we'll discuss further plans there. I don't think we necessarily want to linger here.
Yeah, I don't really want to be observed in any public space at the moment. So
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
even a cafe sounds a little much. I say we go and order room service and kind of sequester ourselves in somebody's room, have a chat.
Yeah. Yep. Let's do exactly that.
You make your way back to the Ibis Hotel.
We're gonna take different streets again, just to avoid the situation we created earlier, and just to familiarize ourselves with the streets in the area.
Each time you take a different route back to your hotel, you gain greater information about the city itself and avenues. It does feel like a maze, but as you add landmarks to your subconscious, it becomes less so.
I mean, just knowing that there's every wall basically has a gate. You just have to be able to find. You just have to run along that wall to find it. But
You find yourself along the harbor wall, headed back towards your hotel. You're used to the European style ratskellers, where there's an illuminated door, stairs that drop sharply down to some chamber below the streets. This calls particularly to Cornell, who has spent many nights in such an environment. And you smell cigarette smoke and liquor emanating from one of these illuminated portals on your way back to your hotel. You can tell you're probably a block and a half from home. Cornell, you feel an inkling to kind of diverge.
I lag behind and bump elbows with Blanka and kind of fall back towards the rear of the group with her.
She looks over your direction again. She's more magnificent tonight than any previous iteration of her. She looks at you and you are spellbound.
Why don't we take a detour? We'll catch up.
She smiles, reaches an arm into your elbow, that little night eye eddy of your arm. The light grip tells you you've got the best backup you could ever need for any encounter.
I kind of direct her towards one of these smoky portals.
You move towards the entrance. The doors are laid open. They look like cellar doors. What did you roll?
Whew. Roll a natch on his perception, I'm guessing.
Benny, you look down into this illuminated hole. It looks like a cistern with stairs down to it.